of Confidence Culture Conversations. Wow. Wow. We are here for yet another episode. And guess what, Kirubai? We are in episode 40.
40. Wow. That's something that we can pat ourselves on the back. The consistency that we have maintained for confidence culture conversations. Hello, everybody. My name is Kirabai Kahoot, transformational coach. And with me,
Elizabeth Olujimi, aka the Thriving Coach.
and we are here today to celebrate our 40th episode.
Wow. Wow. Who would have thought when we had that initial conversation the first time that 40 episodes later we would be here, we'd be going strong? Wow.
Yes, that we thank God for that. We thank. Oops, Elizabeth, are you there? Live? We're still on live.
I'm not sure what
Yeah,
happened there, but technical difficulties. We're
a
back
little
again.
glitch doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. A little glitch.
We are definitely here for it. So, Kirubai, how have you been? How's the
I
week
have
going?
been I have been great. It's been a very exciting last week. Um, it was a very good last week. I think for both of us. Firstly, our presentation we did in India for a for a for college for a co-ed college in South India, and we just did the women. We wanted to do the young ladies. We wanted to speak about confidence, and we did have a great time, Elizabeth. I personally did, trying to be bilingual, but that was a challenge. But you know what? And it's a good way of pushing me out of my pain zone.
There you
It's
go.
yeah, it's not easy, but you know what? I think they kind of understood what I was speaking, and you were amazing. You spoke about confidence, the future of the women, and they received it very well, and we had a whale of a time, I believe.
We absolutely did, and I think they did too.
Yeah, two women from the West, and that's a novelty for them, something a lot different. And it's about giving time to these young ladies and adding value, because they are people of value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was a good experience for us, and more to come from the continent of India. More to come. It was great, and yeah. So, Elizabeth, what's happening? What was happening? And what did happen over the weekend for you? I saw the lovely photographs from on Facebook with little Janaya. So, tell me about the excitement.
Wow, what can I say? I was in Edinburgh for the weekend. Hi, Polash. Thanks for joining on YouTube. So I was in Edinburgh for the weekend, and it was in relation with speaking at a women's ministry launch.
Mhm.
So I was excited. Anything to do with women's ministry excites me. So I was excited, but also sort of anticipating what God was going to do. And actually, God showed up. God showed up. So on I went up to Edinburgh on the Thursday with my handbag, aka Janaya, my little 4-year-old. We went up to Edinburgh. Um, Friday we spent it sort of just relaxing, getting some rest, and also just taking some walks. So we took a walk to the seaside.
Mm.
We went to the sea, and my friend who was looking after us took us on a stroll sort of round the coast. but what we ended up getting to was a waterfall.
Mm.
And it was beautiful. If you've seen my post on Facebook, one of the
Yes.
videos there is the waterfall.
I
It
did.
was amazing just to be in the moment as that water was gushing. Oh, it was good for mindful for well-being and just for mindfulness. It was so good. So that's what we did on the Hi Tunji, nice to see you on YouTube. Um it was
Hi, ladies. He says.
it was good to just have that time to just calm down and relax. If you know me, I love taking walks. I love sort of just walking and being in a place that encourages, rest, encourages some reflection. And that's what that did for me and Janaya on Friday. And at one point I was having a conversation with her about mindfulness and well-being. So we got to the seaside and we stopped for a moment. Okay, not sure what's going on with Facebook if you can't see us live on Facebook, because I did schedule it on Facebook.
Yeah, it's not on. Yeah, it's not coming
No,
on.
that's
Yeah.
a funny one. It was scheduled, so it might be a Facebook issue.
Okay.
It might. Do you know what we'll do? So Kirubai will take a moment to just the YouTube onto share the YouTube link onto our Facebook pages.
Okay.
So as we are speaking, we'll do it. So you can do it, and as I speak, and then I'll do it when you speak, whichever way. So we can still share the link to everyone else that's watching on Facebook, and they can join on YouTube. So that's fine. We're live somewhere, right? I think I'm live on LinkedIn as well. So it must just be a Facebook issue. So I'll check with that and see what's happening there. But let's just check that we are on LinkedIn. Yes, we are on LinkedIn as well. Um, so it's literally just Facebook that's having the issue. So I don't know what's going on there. Thanks, Tunji, for giving us the heads up on it. Um, so yeah, we um went to Edinburgh, so had the time to just rest and relax on Friday, and then on Saturday was the event. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And when I say that God showed up, honestly, one of the things I told the ladies in the room was that you came to witness a launch of a ministry, but little did you know that God wanted to work on you, about the ministry that He is placing in your hands. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very, like, you could look around the room and people were weeping with tears, and God, the Holy Spirit was just doing a work on the women in the room. So I was privileged to witness that and to be party to it. So I had fun, and I am going to go back to Edinburgh. I am going back. In fact, I think I've been invited back to speak at somebody's wedding as a result of the talk on Saturday.
Wow.
So
Lovely.
hey, the thriving coach is doing weddings now. The
Well,
thriving coach, Pastor Liz, whichever one you want to, whichever hat you want me to wear. So I'm excited about that. So in September, I'll be going back. Literally 2 months. I'll be going back to Edinburgh. So
okay. Well done.
so
And before you go further, you looked amazing in that dress. You looked
thank
so
you.
regal and so put together, and you occupied the space, my dear.
Thank you.
You
I
looked,
did my best.
you looked really nice. You kind of, I suppose when you are, what you do best is when you answer the call that God has put over your life, and you are walking your destiny, and you look radiant, you look beautiful, you look amazing. So
Don't make me blush, Kirubai. Thank you.
that's how I saw it. I mean, you were radiating God's glory, and amazing. Praise God for that.
Thank you. It's interesting you use that word because that morning I got a phone call from somebody about a dream that she had of me, and that was
Oh,
one of the words from the dream. So
wow.
that's interesting. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting. So that's what we get up to, ladies and gentlemen who are joining us today. One day we could be speaking to a school in India, virtually, and another day we could be live in Edinburgh. Hey.
power of power of the Zoom connections.
Well, Zoom connections, and also I guess just just being flexible with impacting people in different spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
not limiting yourself to one place, but being flexible to the different spaces that God is calling you to. And I think for all of us, that's something that we need to bear in mind, that you cannot limit yourself to one corner. You cannot limit yourself to, a little space somewhere, because there is more to where God is calling you to.
Mm-hmm.
There is a bigger space to where he's calling you to. And I think, when we look at social media enables us to be global in the
Mm-hmm.
work that we are doing. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. So bring on any location, and we'll go, whether it's virtually or physically, we'll make it happen.
Yes, I suppose that the God sees the readiness, and this what we are sharing now, it actually slips in very nicely into our topic today. I think the topic. I think before we move on, talking about pain that promotes growth in our confidence, and the larger the pain that each carries, the bigger the calling.
Ooh, the larger the pain that each carries, the bigger the calling. Ow, break that down, Kirubai. Break that down.
I think a lot. I think each one of us have our own struggles and challenges and pain of the past, and sometimes the pain that we carry presently is for a greater glory, a greater height of destiny that is awaits us. So the journey that we go through in our pain is all little stepping stones or lessons that we learn, that I let's talking let's talk about what we as coaches, we've got lots of struggles, pushing and pulling and pushing through things. But you know what, each and every stone of pain that we carry throughout this journey has been valuable experience that we can share to our clients, the people that come through our lives, people that we touch throughout our lives. And these are real nuggets of gold that we are passing on to someone. And I always say to my clients that if you're going through something that it's so difficult, there is a purpose for it.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
No, do you know what? It makes sense. And it reminds me of something I said to the women at the event on Saturday,
Hmm.
is that sometimes God gives us a vision or a dream, and as we are working towards it, things might not happen at the pace that we want them to happen, but
Hmm.
there is a need for us to go through that process.
Hmm.
And so we must be able to embrace the process on the way to where we are going.
Hmm. So true. Embrace the process, because we can sometimes shortchange ourselves and not wait patiently for the things to unfold.
Mm,
Because I've always seen when I've been impatient, it's just one step away from my breakthrough. I might be turning the other way because of my impatience. And pain is like that, because we want you're both preaching already. and 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 we need that pain to confidently say, hey, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
that's it. Mm.
And that pain will spur you up, like the book, we talked about this book a long time ago about failing forward. So many failures. I mean, I personally have experienced so many failures. But you know what, today, for who I am, is the failures have made me for who I am.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting, because I was just thinking about a few weeks ago, myself and Tunji went for a book launch for one of his clients, Daniel
Mhm,
Moses,
mhm,
and Daniel's recent book, his latest book, the test,
Yes, yeah.
that is based on the painful experiences.
Mhm, mhm,
So during the launch, even as he spoke about it, it was so emotional.
mhm,
He was in tears as he talked about it. His wife was in tears as she talked about, standing by his side as he went through these painful moments.
mhm,
And he really like goes into the depth of those painful moments, but he's referring to those painful moments, and now they've helped him to be the person that he is today.
mhm.
Because it can be very easy for us to give up because of the painful moments, because of the bad experiences. But actually, we can learn from those experiences and we can grow from those experiences. There's a saying out there, once bitten, twice shy. So an experience can deal with you to the point that you're wiser.
Mhm,
You're wiser. You don't need to make the same decisions that you made before, or the wrong
mhm.
decisions, the bad decisions.
Yeah, it's you know John Maxwell, in his book The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, he talks about each of us carrying our own pain files.
Wow. Okay.
So as I was reading it, to prepare myself for what I want to share together with you, and it was quite cute. He said, "Everyone carries a pain file, but some of us hide it. We do not show. We want to just show the successful part of our lives. But you know what? When we show pain, we show authenticity, we show vulnerability, we show the world that we are real. And people like to relate to these things. And I believe, if if I personally can speak about myself, and Elizabeth, you can share your experience, but personally, I think pain was good for me.
Hmm.
It was good. If not, I wouldn't be who I am today.
That's it. But it's funny because when you're going through it,
Oh my
you want
God.
it to end.
Yes.
You want to like get yourself out of it. You want to escape from it.
Hmm.
But when you have come through on the other side, I mean, I think of, for example, the pain of childbirth.
Yeah.
And this was one of the things I talked about when I used the illustration of birthing. You're giving birth to something, and sometimes birthing is painful, but that baby must come out. I look at Janaya today, and the pain was worth it.
Worth it. Yes.
It was worth it. So that's like a perfect example of
Mhm.
the pain that we have to endure, and it results into something good, something beautiful.
And for those who are out there going through this process of pain, you can be any part of your lives, your personal life, in your relationships, in your career, in your studies, in whatever area, in in an intimate relationship with your spouse. But sometimes don't give up easily.
Mm,
Endure the process, because something beautiful is going to await you. And please, I think Elizabeth and I, we 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 are empathetic towards those who are going through pain. And I want to say with all sincerity, we encourage you to hold on.
mm,
If someone is going through a bad breakup or a divorce, don't give up on that relationship.
that's it.
Give it more time to work things out.
Mm.
I don't know why I had to say this. Someone has to hear this. Don't give up too soon.
Yeah, it's pain is not something that any of us wants to go through. It's not something that we want to endure, but being able to reflect on those painful moments helps us to learn, helps us to grow, helps us to be better. I remember that for me, like when I reflect on my brother's passing, when I reflect on that, it's it's helped me to be more graceful with people who are experiencing grief.
Mm, mm,
And it's given me a better perspective, a better understanding. So you could literally say, I've grown in that area
mhm,
because I have experienced that situation.
mhm.
And when we go through things, we grow. We grow if we are willing to look at the situation and evaluate the situation and learn from the situation. Then it opens up the window for us to be able to grow. If you never reflect on something, you never have the opportunity to grow from it.
True.
So you can have all the experiences, good and bad, but if you never take time to reflect, then you never learn what you need to learn from it.
Yeah. Death, death. One of the examples John Maxwell speaks about is how a husband and wife. The husband was the pilot. He was the pilot flying the flight on 9/11, where his plane hit the building and everyone died on
Mm,
flight. And when she received that news, it tore her apart. She just collapsed and didn't know how to receive. It took her a long time to work the pain out. And she said the more she thought about it, she just felt that she was falling into a deep, deep hole. But pain
mm,
is like that, it just consumes you. But there were people, good people around her who supported her. And eventually, little by little, she came off a pain, and she used that experience to touch many lives, talking about how to overcome grief. Because as you were sharing about your brother, the losing of your brother, grief is tormenting.
mm,
It is so tormenting. And today she is remarried, and she's living a very happy and a fulfilling life. But what I'm saying, it is temporal. You have to
mm,
think about it as it is temporary. It is not permanent. It is temporal. And you have to move on, because when you talk about your feelings, the person will always be very close to your heart.
that's it.
And for me, grief, I lost my father. Every time I think of my father, there is a tug in my heart, but I always console myself and say, one day I will see him in heaven.
Mm,
That is the hope that I have, and that gives me a lot of joy. For those who are not who are not people of faith, I just want to tell you that we, as people of faith, we believe that we will meet our loved ones in heaven. So that is our hope. So that is my hope. I'm sure that is Elizabeth's hope. She will meet her brother. I will meet my dad.
no, absolutely. And it's not sure why we're going down this route, but I'll share this anyway. I remember a few years ago being in the workplace, and one of my colleagues was seemingly very emotionally down. And when I spoke to her, she shared that she had lost a relative.
Mm,
And so we got talking, and part of me was thinking to myself, what's the hope for people who don't have a faith?
mhm,
Because I could share with her based on my faith,
mhm,
and how what it was like when my brother passed away, and how my faith helped me to keep going. But for her, it it wasn't as simple as that. Not that it's a simple thing, but it wasn't as straightforward as that, because she didn't necessarily have a faith. But being flexible to the different
But
spaces. Going back to this conversation around pain, the bad experiences in life have a way of kind of etching something in our memory, etching something in our minds, in our subconscious, to the point that we very easily refer to them. I think if you asked people to reflect on maybe the past year, it's probably easier to remember the bad times than it is to remember the good times.
mm,
And that's probably just a human thing, that we very easily like attach to those things, but those things also teach us like the toughest lessons. Those moments, those what might seem like negative moments, bad moments, they teach us. They force us into a place where we have to question reality, where we have to question even why we are alive sometimes.
mhm. Purpose.
And it's like the conversation around being resilient.
Mhm,
You have to be able to bounce back.
mhm.
So being able to realize that this is a moment where I can grow. Now, in the moment, you probably won't even realize it, because you're so focused on how much pain is being exerted on you, or how much of a negative situation it is, that you probably won't see how you are growing. But situations which are negative or bad situations equip you to better serve people around you when you're able to learn from them.
So, just to find out a little bit more on the ladies, the women's ministry that you went to Edinburgh for, Colette. Colette is the
Colin.
Colin, sorry. So, what was her pain point that she wanted to bless women in this ministry?
For her, it's a burden that God has placed on her heart.
Hmm.
And she, over the years, has been called to minister to women.
Hmm. Okay.
But that said, the ministry she wants to do is not just for women. She also has a passion for helping men. But the starting place at the moment is to work with women, to bring women together to a place where they pray together, where they inspire each other, where they grow together, growing in spiritual matters, growing in life.
Hmm.
So it's a there's a burden to spiritually equip people,
Hmm.
but there's also a burden to stand alongside people and walk with them
Mm.
in life, and help them to be better and to make better decisions as well.
So, would you say, I mean, I love the name, the Daughters Ministry, and I think it's really nice and punchy. Um, so, when I say, was it birthed out of pain? Probably, is it safe to say that, she's just building a tribe where she's filling a gap, and a gap that, women need tribe. They need to be in collect.
We all do, even men. They need a tribe too.
Oh, but hardly hear about men having a tribe. Huh?
Tunji can tell us. Men need a tribe too. They just they're not, for women it comes easily to a point, because women like to talk. Men don't always like to talk. So coming together as a tribe is not as easy as it is for women to come together as a tribe.
So I mean, I would say she's bridging a gap, women coming together and speaking to one another. Yes, we do. And in that same way, Kingdompreneur, it is actually bridging a gap of entrepreneurs coming together, sharing their pain, sharing their areas of where the areas of concerns. The last meeting we had Adam speak about social media, and many of us shared our concerns, and those were pain points that we were struggling in our business. So Kingdompreneur came as to fill the gap where all Christian business people come together to build a tribe to support one another. And I think that's a very creative way, because we are learning, gleaning from one another, and and improving ourselves, taking a more bolder step, being bold, being more confident in some of the I personally learned a couple of things that I needed to change in my social media. So like that, you know, pain is good. It motivates you and promotes you to the next level.
Definitely, definitely. I remember one time being in a room, I think at a dinner table visiting somebody. This was years ago. And as this lady was praying, she was praying that negative situations will come upon us,
Mhm,
because when negative situations come upon us, we can see the hand of God at work.
mhm,
Because he says, in the valley of the shadow of death, he's with us. you
mhm,
know because of it was literally, I think it was Psalm 23, and she flipped it around, not in a bad way, but she was literally saying, let the bad things happen, because then God can show himself strong.
mhm,
And I was like, I don't want to say amen to that prayer, because I don't want to pray for bad things to happen to me just so I can see the hand of God or the provision of God. But I think the encouragement there is that no matter what we go through, he's always there. So even in the painful moments, he is still there. And it's one of those things that when we are going through the pain, now this is easier said than done, right? It's easier said, you know don't fix your mind on the things that are happening. Stay focused, stay focused. And the Bible tells us about trusting in God. The Bible talks about fixing your eyes on him. He keeps you in perfect peace. That is one of my favorite scriptures, because I always remind myself, even when I'm in the down moments, keep your eyes fixed on him. There is peace. There is peace that comes with fixing your eyes on him. No matter how rough the scenario is that you're going through, no matter how painful it is, when you're going through it, but when you fix your eyes on him. And for different people, that will look different, because for some people, their faith is stronger. And so it won't affect them as much. But for some other people, their faith is not as strong. And this is where we have to be kind to one another, because you don't know the pain that someone is going through behind the scenes.
mhm,
You might be showing up in the office every day and think that everything is perfect, but you don't know who didn't sleep at home because they're in an abusive relationship. You don't know who went to bed without food because they have no money to feed their family. You don't know. And for some people, they don't talk, they keep everything to themselves. So you never know that they're going through some bad situations. Now, I'm not saying go and tell the world your business, but I am saying find an avenue to talk, an avenue to let out, because we all go through something. We all go through something. There are always bad things happening around. Just because nobody close to you has passed away doesn't mean there's somebody around you who hasn't passed away. Like every day, people are passing away. So that means every day people are experiencing grief.
mhm,
So when we think about this pain and how we can grow in painful moments, I think one of the growth lessons for me over the years has been to be kind to others, because you might be in a painful situation today and then tomorrow you're not, but someone else is. How do you relate with them when you know the pain that they are enduring in that moment? Because you've been through some pain, you better understand that this is the support that they need in this
mhm,
moment. So the painful, I think one of the things that you can take away from pain is that it opens your eyes. a bit more. It gives you some bit of exposure.
Exposure and clarity to how the other person is, feeling. But I think it's also gives you a different perspective. You become less judgmental, and it's building of your character.
Mm.
You become less judgmental. You become more compassionate and more giving, no expectation, and just being there for someone who's going through some sort of pain.
It's interesting when we talk about this conversation on pain. When you look at some of the people who are very successful,
Mm,
particularly the ones whose story has something to do with painful experiences, you realize that I think for most of them, they're a lot more giving, like you said. They're a lot more, conscious of, I know what it was like when I
mhm,
was down there.
mm,
So I now that I have, I can help somebody that's down there because I have felt that pain. I know what that pain was like.
mm,
And I think sometimes, like, going through painful or bad moments better equips us to serve the people around us. And that could be serving clients, that could be serving just people in your community, people in your family, just anybody, even somebody that you walk past on the street.
mhm,
But because you've gone through some bad times, it's easier for you to relate with what they're going through.
mhm. I think this is a good place for me to share about my passion towards abuse,
Mm,
because I have gone through it myself. So I'm very passionate about women who are going through um, domestic abuse, sexual abuse, and my heart goes out to them. And I know that is my sort of calling, to build the lost confidence, because you tear yourself apart. You s- you just keep blaming yourself. You tear yourself apart, and then so much of guilt you carry, which really zaps off your confidence. But that pain that I went through, it has promoted me to who I am today.
mm,
Pain promotes you, but the dealings, you have to deal on your insides, because when you carry that pain, you carry that that vengeance of, I want to do something to my abuser. All that has to drop off, and you
mm.
are in a place of peace, and then you can reach out and say, I can help someone. So, as I said, pain promotes good character and nature. Pain promotes you to successfully be that person that you can touch someone else's life. So do not sit and cry and say, why me?
Well, you can do that for like 5 minutes, but
Okay,
get up and do something.
5 minutes. Okay, Elizabeth is too kind. She's given 5 minutes. But in real life, it wasn't 5 minutes for me. It took a process. It took a
Mm,
process. But you know what? End of the day, today I can say I'm healed. I can speak about it. And whoever is watching, if you've gone through something like that, mind my words, you will come out of it if you try, if you
mm,
reach out for help. That's important for you, to reach out for help, and don't wallow. Do not wallow and kill yourself, because pain can kill, or pain
sure,
can
yeah.
promote.
Mm,
Pain can kill your confidence. Pain can kill all that you have thrived and strived all your years of your life. But when you hold on to pain, it kills. But when you let go, It promotes you to a next level.
Mm, that's it. Pain can promote you, right? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? You know, in John Maxwell's book, so one of the things he talks about, or there's a quote he talks about from Warren G. Lester. Success in life comes not from holding a good hand, but in playing a poor hand well.
Yeah, it's a card game.
So the poor hands will always be there.
Yep.
That's the reality of life. So your success is not necessarily about how you do the good, how you do in the good times, but more about what you do with that bad hand that
Mhm.
comes. So in a way, you could say that's resilience, right? Because bouncing back in adversity, in the midst of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the bad hand, the bad times. So how resilient are you? So when we talk about this growing from the bad times, you have to be someone resilient in order for you to grow from those bad times. Because if you're not resilient, you won't even come out of the bad times. You will stay in a place of self-pity, in a place of victim mentality, and that's not where you need to be. So the conversation of why me, that sometimes is a very sort of negative thing. And I remember one time, I don't know if it was someone preaching who said, like, instead of saying why me, why not you? I don't know if that was Tunji. I don't know if that was a message that you preached or something. But yeah, like, why not you? Why should it be someone else? Why should it be Kirubai, not you? Like, why should it be someone else? Why not you? Because that's a moment where you're going to, it will be painful. It will be painful. It will be painful. And that's why we need to realize that, because life goes in cycles, right?
Mhm.
Life goes in cycles. So we need to be kind to ourselves and kind to others,
Mhm.
because there might be moments where we're on that high trajectory, there might be moments where we are on that low trajectory, and even in those moments, we don't need to be nasty people. So yeah, Tunji, so it was last year that you preached the message, why not me? Was the message. So yes, the things will happen, the negative situations, the bad times will happen, but in the midst of those bad times, can you see the growth opportunities if you look away from the pain,
Yeah.
which is not an easy thing to do. But and sometimes it's more about reflecting after it has happened, as opposed to reflecting in the moment.
Mhm. It reminds me of the oyster. The oyster actually, grains of sand actually goes into the oyster to bring out that beautiful pearl. But the pain that the oyster goes through, the process of from the little sand to the pearl, it is a process. So
Mm,
that that pain that you are going through now, it's going to promote you to be that pearl. It's going to promote each one of you who is struggling with pain. Think of the end result.
mm,
Think of what is going to come forth because of that pain that you're going through currently. It may be even a financial loss, a loss of a relationship. You might be humiliated. You might have been spat upon. They might have served you and said, vacate the house. But you know what? There's always help for you and I. There's always help. And for those who really need help with their pain in their internals, I'm here happy to help you. Reach out to me. For those who are struggling to come out of pain and to find out what you need to thrive, there's Elizabeth there. So we are happy to help. Reach out to us on social media. We are happy to help. We both carry different experiences, and There goes our promotional offer to everyone. Elizabeth is laughing, but it's true. It's true. It's true. We are happy to help.
Yeah, no, we are happy to help. I think, like I said before, about people being able to reach out and express what they're going through, because I think sometimes we struggle to do that because we don't want to pour our issues on somebody else. But honestly, don't suffer in silence.
Mm,
Have some trusted people around you that you can talk to, because things will always happen in life. There'll be good days and there'll be bad days. That's the reality. That's the reality. And we can't pretend that we can't see the reality of the bad days, because they are there. Like we can choose not to give them attention. That's fine. But the reality is that they're there.
mm. And
So go on.
sorry, some of us who have so much of pain we can't share, we result to having taking drugs, result to committing suicide, result to breaking down and having a mental breakdown and go into depression. We don't want that for you. Just
Mm,
open up and speak. Open up and speak and just share the pain with someone else, someone who understands, someone who's able to reach out and help you.
mm,
As what Elizabeth says, do not suffer alone. Sobering thought today, Elizabeth.
absolutely.
It needed to be shared, needed to be spoken. Do
We're
not see.
talking about the law of pain, so yes, it was necessary.
Yes, do not suffer alone. So with that, I shall say goodbye.
Honestly, just to reiterate what Coach Kirubai has said, if there is something that you're going through and you need to open up to somebody, find a trusted person, find a counselor, find a psychotherapist, find somebody that you can trust, and just be able to share and open up to them, so that you're not suffering in a place of isolation, you're not suffering in silence. Express what you are going through, because it helps when you're able to do that. It helps when you're able to do that. So get the help that you need to get. And if you need to reach out to myself and Coach Kirubai, please feel free to do so. Our lines are open. our our lines of communication are open, so feel free to either send us a DM or contact us, and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you. So I think that's the end of today. So we'll be back next week,
Yes.
I believe, for another episode. We might
Yes,
take a break at some point, but um, I think we're back next week, Kirubai, right?
yes, we're going to speak about character growth that builds confidence.
Ooh, I like that.
And food for thought. We all need to work on our character. I need to work on my character. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to be very candid. We're going to be vulnerable and we're going to talk about it. And that's what is all about confidence culture conversations. Bye
There you
now.
go. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your day, those who are still in daytime. We will catch you next week for another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations.